She pushed through the crowd and grabbed my wrist. "I'll take this one." She dragged me out of that place and shoved a key into my hand. "First month's rent and a 3-month deposit. Consider it interest." I looked at her. "Sun Yin, I don't have any money." She looked up, her eyes clear. "I know. That's why you have to sleep with me." The music was so loud it made my head hurt. The wine bottle on the tray shook, and water from the ice bucket splashed onto the back of my hand. It was cool. "Su Yin, is that really you?" I looked up and saw a few familiar faces. It was Zhao Lin and his crew. They used to follow me around, calling me Brother Yin this and Brother Yin that. Now, they were leaning back on a leather sofa, wearing shirts I could recognize the quality of at a glance. The watches on their wrists glittered in the dim light. I forced a smile. "What can I get for you gentlemen?" Zhao Lin looked me up and down, his gaze lingering on my waiter's uniform. "Young Master Su, experiencing life are we?" Someone next to him chuckled. I didn't say anything, just handed them the menu. "Let's get 2 bottles of Ace of Spades. Help you hit your sales target." Zhao Lin took the menu, didn't look at it, and tossed it on the table. "You always used to treat us. How about we treat you to a drink today?" He gestured for me to get a glass. I stood my ground. "I'm working. It's not convenient." "Oh, young Master Su is such a rule follower now." Another one, with a full head of bleach blonde hair, chimed in. "I heard your family's villa was auctioned off. What a shame. That pool party you had when you were a kid was a blast." My fingers curled under the tray. My nails dug into my palm. It hurt a little. My phone started vibrating in my pocket. I knew who it was without looking. The landlord had given me an ultimatum yesterday. If I didn't pay the rent, he'd change the locks tomorrow. And then there were the loan repayment texts. "Mr. Su, your loan is overdue." I took a deep breath. "Do you still want the wine?" Zhao Lin stared at me, then suddenly smiled. "Of course, why wouldn't we?" He leaned forward. "But you have to open it with your teeth. Let us see the special talent of the great young Master Su." The booth fell silent. Several pairs of eyes landed on my face. Like needles. I looked at him. I remembered his birthday last year on the yacht. He was drunk and had his arm around my shoulders, saying, "Brother Yin, from now on, you're my real brother." Now he was leaning back on the sofa, a smirk playing on his lips, waiting for my reaction. I moved my lips. Before I could make a sound, someone grabbed my wrist from behind. "I'll take this one." The voice was flat with a slight gasp, like she had been running. I turned around. Sun Yin was standing there. Her hair was a bit messy, and there was sweat on her forehead. She was wearing that old t-shirt I'd seen before, the collar so worn it was loose. She didn't look at me, her eyes fixed on Zhao Lin. "I'm buying his time for the day." Zhao Lin raised an eyebrow. "And who are you?" Sun Yin pulled a wad of cash from her pocket and slammed it on the table. A neat stack of red bills. "Is this enough?" She finally glanced at me. "Come with me." Without another word, she started dragging me out. I stumbled. The bartender shouted from behind me, "Su Yin, your shift isn't over." Sun Yin didn't look back. "I'll cover his dock pay." She dragged me all the way to the back door of the club. A gust of night wind blew over. I shivered. She let go of my hand and stood under a streetlight, catching her breath. Her shadow was stretched long. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Only the muffled noise of distant traffic could be heard. After her breathing calmed, she took a key out of her other pocket and pressed it into my hand. It was metal and warm from her body. "I rented an apartment," she said. 2 bedrooms, 1 living room. First month's rent and a 3-month deposit. I clutched the keys. "Sun Yin," I said, my voice a little hoarse. "I don't have any money." She looked up. The streetlight's glow reflected in her eyes, making them sparkle. "I know." She turned and started walking away. "That's why you have to sleep with me." I followed her into an old residential complex. The voice-activated lights in the stairwell were finicky. I had to stomp my foot several times to get them to turn on. The dim, yellow light barely illuminated the stairs. She lived on the 5th floor. No elevator. The lock was a bit stuck when she opened the door. She had to jiggle it a few times before it opened. "Come in." She stepped aside to let me in. The apartment was small but clean. The sofa was old, covered with a plain, checkered cloth. There was a fruit bowl on the coffee table, the apples washed so clean they shone. There was a faint scent of lemon in the air, like it had just been cleaned. "That room," she said, pointing to the bedroom further in. "I'll sleep in this one," she said, pointing to the other. Turn the knob on the bathroom water heater to the left. The washing machine is a bit old. It's loud during the spin cycle, so just bear with it. She spoke quickly, as if reciting it from script. With that, she slipped into the kitchen. I'll boil some water. I stood in the center of the living room. I was still clutching the keys. The metal edges dug into my flesh. It hurt a little. This wasn't a familiar environment. The bathroom in my old house was bigger than this entire living room. But here, there were no text messages from debt collectors, no urgent notices from a landlord, nor were there the looks from Zhao Lin and his friends, the kind you get when you're watching a monkey perform. The hum of the kettle came from the kitchen. Sun Yin came out carrying 2 glasses of water. Drink up. She handed one to me. Cradling the other one, she took small sips. The steam turned the tip of her nose slightly red. I sat down on the sofa. The cushion was softer than I expected. What? I asked. She didn't look up. Why what? Why are you helping me? She blew the steam from the rim of her cup. I already told you, she said. The deposit and 3 months' rent. I'm charging you interest. When you have money again, you can pay me back, principal and all. I looked at her. You know that right now, I know. She cut me off. Your family went bankrupt. Your dad ran off. Your mom is stuck abroad and can't come back. And you're up to your eyeballs in debt. She said it flatly, as if she were reading a weather forecast. So, I tightened my grip on the cup. The heat seeped through the wall of the cup, scalding my palm. So you're taking advantage of my situation? She finally looked up at me. Her eyes seemed especially dark in the light. That's right. She quirked the corner of her mouth. I've had my eye on you for a long time, Suyin. Since high school. Now that I finally have a chance, I can't let it go. I opened my mouth. No sound came out. High school. Back then, I was always surrounded by a crowd of people. She was always trailing quietly behind, carrying an old backpack. When I treated everyone to a meal, she always ordered the cheapest thing. When I gave her gifts, she never accepted them. Once, I cornered her in the stairwell on purpose. Sun Yan, do you hate me? She kept her head down, the tips of her ears so red they were almost translucent. No, her voice was as faint as a mosquito's buzz. Then why won't you take my things? She twisted the hem of her school uniform. They're too expensive. What's wrong with expensive? Back then, I was brimming with the arrogance of youth. My family is rich. I'm happy to spend money on you. She shook her head. I don't want it. She turned and ran. Now she was sitting here, saying she'd had her eye on me for a long time. It sounded like a joke, but her gaze was serious. So serious it unsettled me. The water's hot. She put down her cup and stood up. Go take a shower. There are clean clothes in the closet. They should fit. She walked into her room and closed the door. I sat on the sofa, motionless. The sound of running water came from the bathroom. She was taking a shower. I stared at the closed door. It was made of wood, the paint peeling in places. A sliver of light shone from under it, wavering slightly. I suddenly felt thirsty. I picked up my cup and downed the lukewarm water in one gulp. And so I started living at Sun Yin's place. She set some rules for me. I make breakfast, you're on your own for lunch, and whoever gets home first makes dinner. We'll split the utilities. I'll pay 2/3, you pay 1/3. We take turns cleaning. I'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Sunday is a big cleanup. We do it together. She wrote out a list and stuck it on the refrigerator. Her handwriting was neat, the points clear and organized. Just like her. I couldn't find a reason to object. I started looking for a job. I went to interviews during the day and took odd jobs at night. Designated driver, sorting packages at a delivery service. I did anything I could. Sun Yin worked as an accountant at a small company. Every day, she got off work on time and came back carrying discounted vegetables from the market. She was a great cook. She could make impressive dishes even from simple ingredients. We rarely spoke. During meals, we would each scroll through our own phones. The only sound in the living room was the clinking of bowls and chopsticks. Occasionally, she would ask me a question. Did it go well today? And I would answer. It was okay. Then, silence again. But her gaze would always land on me. I could feel it. One night, I woke up thirsty and went to get some water. I saw that the door to her room wasn't fully closed. She was sitting at her desk, in front of her computer. The light from the screen reflected on her face. She was wearing headphones, saying something in a low voice. Right, this part of the data needs to be double-checked. She was working overtime. I was about to turn away. When I heard her sigh, it was very soft, and she raised a hand and rubbed the back of her neck. The movement was weary. I stood there, watching her back. She was thin, the sharp outline of her shoulder blades visible beneath her pajamas. The cash she had slapped on the table that night. A thick stack. How many nights of overtime had she worked for that? I don't know. Without drinking any water, I quietly returned to my room. Lying on the bed, I stared blankly at the ceiling. I never used to think much about money. Only now do I realize that a single penny can truly stump a hero, let alone someone like me, who is nowhere near being a hero. I caught a cold. My head ached, and my throat felt like it was full of sand. I forced myself to go to an interview, and by the time I came back, it was already dark. I collapsed on the sofa and didn't want to move. Sun-Yin came back and saw me like this. She didn't say anything. She reached out and touched my forehead. Her palm was cool. Against my burning skin, it felt so good I let out a soft hum. "You have a fever," she stated a fact. She turned to get the first aid kit, found the fever reducer, and poured a glass of warm water. "Get up and take your medicine." I propped myself up and took the pill from her hand. She crouched in front of the sofa, looking at me. "How was the interview?" I closed my eyes. No chance. They said my major wasn't a good fit, and I didn't have enough experience. She didn't come for me. "That's normal," she said. "Your previous experience wasn't exactly legitimate anyway." I knew she was right. I used to be on the company's payroll in name only, spending my days eating, drinking, and having fun. I didn't learn many real skills. Now I'm paying the price. "Go to sleep," she said, standing up. "You'll feel better after you sweat out." I drifted off into a daze. I woke up in the middle of the night, thirsty. I found a blanket draped over me. The living room light was off, with only a faint glow coming from the bathroom. Sun-Yin was sitting on a small stool nearby, with a laptop on her lap. The screen's light illuminated her profile. She wore glasses, her hair casually tied up. She looked a little unfamiliar. I shifted slightly. She immediately turned her head. "What do you need?" she asked, her voice very low. "Water." She put down her laptop and went to the kitchen to pour a glass of warm water. She helped me sit up. I leaned against her, taking small sips of water. She had a faint scent of body wash, the same one I used. "What time is it?" I asked. "Almost 3, she said. "You're not sleeping yet. I still have some work to do." She took the empty glass and placed it back on a coffee table. "You should get back to sleep." I lay back down. She tucked the blanket in for me. Her movements were very gentle. Her fingers occasionally brushed against my neck. "Cool." I closed my eyes. I felt her gaze linger on my face for a moment. Then came the soft sound of typing. Like a lullaby, I fell asleep again. After I recovered from my illness, I found a job as a designated driver at night. The hours were from 10 at night to 2 in the morning. The pay was decent, but it was exhausting. Sun-Yin didn't object. She only said, "Be safe." On my first night, I got a client. The customer threw up in the car. It took me a long time to clean it up, and it was almost 3 by the time I got home. The lights in the hallway were off. I fumbled for my keys, using the light from my phone to find the keyhole. The door opened from the inside. Sun-Yin stood there in her pajamas. Her hair was messy, as if she had just woken up. "I made some late-night supper," she said. "I saw you weren't back, so I kept it warm." There was a bowl of congee on the dining table. It was still steaming. "You been up all this time?" I asked. She rubbed her eyes. "I was asleep. Just got up to use the bathroom." Her voice was mumbled. She was obviously lying, but I didn't call her out on it. I sat down and drank the congee. It was preserved egg and pork congee, cooked until very soft. She sat across from me, her chin in her hand, her eyelids drooping. "Don't wait up for me anymore," I said. She grunted in response. Non-committal. The second day, the third day, every night when I came back, there was a different bowl of congee on the table, and she was always coincidentally awake. On Friday night, I finished work early. I was back by just after 12. The hallway light was on. Sun-Yin was sitting on the top step, hugging her knees. Her head was nodding, dozing off. The sound of my footsteps startled her. She looked up abruptly. "You're back early today." Her voice was laced with sleepiness. "Yeah, not many orders." I looked at her. "Why weren't you waiting inside?" She stood up, patting the dust off her pants. "It's stuffy inside," she said softly. I followed her into the apartment. I noticed there was no congee on the table. You didn't make any tonight? I asked. She paused. I forgot. She turned and slipped into the kitchen. I'll make it now. It'll be quick. I stood at the kitchen entrance, watching her busy back. The rice container was nearly empty. She crouched down and pulled out another small bag of rice from the very back of the cupboard. She poured it into the pot, added water, and turned on the stove. Her movements were practiced, but I knew that she had originally planned to use that rice to make fried rice tomorrow. Now her plan was disrupted, because she forgot to make congee, and I came back early. Something stirred softly inside me, like being brushed by a feather. Ticklish. Sun-Yin. I called her. She didn't turn around. I'm off tomorrow, I said. Let's go to the supermarket. Her hand paused for a moment as she turned off the stove. Okay. The congee was ready. She ladled a bowl for me. She filled a small bowl for herself and sat across from me, sipping it slowly. Did you eat dinner? I asked. She froze for a second. I did. What did you have? Takeout. She lowered her head, stirring her congee with a spoon. I knew she was lying. There weren't many leftovers in the fridge, but enough for one person. She must have been saving them, wanted to wait for me to come back and eat together. But I didn't come back for dinner. It had been like this for days. I'll go grocery shopping tomorrow, I said. What do you want to eat? She looked up, a little surprised. You know how to shop for groceries. I can learn, I said. The corners of her mouth curved up slightly, then quickly straightened again. Whatever, she said. Get some potatoes. They're cheap and last long. I looked at her. Under the light, her eyelashes were lowered, casting small shadows beneath her eyes. Okay, I said. I'll get potatoes. We went to the supermarket on the weekend. Sun-Yin pushed the shopping cart, and I walked beside her. She picked up a bag of potatoes and examined the label carefully. This one's on sale. She handed it to me. Hold this. Then she went to pick out carrots. You need to learn how to read the price tags, she said as she chose. Yellow means it's on sale. Red is the original price. The prepared foods section has discounts after 7 p.m., but you have to eat it quickly. It doesn't keep well. I pushed the cart, listening to her chatter on. People were coming and going all around us. Couples, lovers, parents with their children. Ordinary and lively. I never used to come to places like this. But now I felt it wasn't so bad. We're out of shampoo, she said, stopping in front of the toiletries aisle. She picked up a bottle, looked at the price, and put it back down. She swapped it for a cheaper one. Let's use this one, she said. The scent is pretty much the same. I took the unfamiliar brand from her. You never used this one before, I said. The brand she used to use was one I recommended. It was expensive, but it was really good. We're poor now, she said, her tone flat. We'll have to make do. She pushed the cart and walked ahead. I watched her back. Slender, but her back was perfectly straight, like a small white poplar, unbent by wind or rain. I quickened my pace to catch up. Sun-Yin. She turned her head. When I make money, I'll buy you the good stuff, I said. She was taken aback for a moment. Then she smiled. Her eyes curved into crescents. Okay, she said. I'll remember that. After we finished shopping, we went to check out. The cashier finished scanning the items. That'll be $278.50. Sun-Yin opened her wallet. I beat her to it, holding out my bank card. I'll get it. She pressed my hand down. We agreed to go Dutch. It's my treat this time, I said. She looked at me. Where did you get the money? I earned it for being a designated driver, I said. My first paycheck. She was silent for a few seconds, then let go of my hand. Then I'll get it next time. By the time we walked out of the supermarket, the sky was already dark. The evening breeze blew over, carrying a slight chill. She held one side of the shopping bag, and I held the other. The bag swayed back and forth, and our hands would occasionally touch, then quickly pull apart. Sun-Yin, she said suddenly. What are your plans for the future? I looked ahead. The streetlights lit up one by one, stretching into the distance. Pay off the debt first, I said, and then find a proper job. What do you want to do? I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe sales? Or learn a trade. She didn't say anything. After we had walked for a bit, she said softly, There's no rush. You're still young. I chuckled. You're 2 months younger than me. But I'm more mature than you, she said. Your life was too easy before. Experiencing some hardship now is a good thing. I stopped walking. She stopped too, turning her head to look at me. Sun-Yin. I called her name. What is it? Did you used to hate me? She blinked. Why do you ask? Because looking back now, I feel like I was such a bastard back then, I said. Squandering money, arrogant and clueless. She lowered her head, looking at the tips of her shoes. You were quite a bastard, she said. Then she looked up, her eyes bright. But you're much better now. At least you helped carry the shopping bags. I looked at her. I suddenly had the urge to pat her on the head. But my hand had barely lifted before I lowered it again. Let's go, I said. Back to make dinner. Yeah, she answered. We continued walking forward. Our shadows stretched out behind us, overlapping, like two people leaning on each other. My co-living life with Sun Yin gradually found a steady rhythm. I looked for a job during the day and worked as a designated driver at night. She worked 9 to 5, with occasional overtime. We would have brief exchanges at the breakfast table. Interview today. Yeah, at 10. The shirt is ironed. It's in the closet. Thanks. Or, what do you want to eat tonight? Whatever. There's no such dish as whatever. Then, shredded potatoes. We just had that yesterday. Oh, then you decide. Plain but stable. It had a strange feeling of home. Until one day, I received a phone call. It was my dad calling from abroad. His voice had aged a lot. Xiaoyan, are you okay? I stood on the balcony, watching the traffic below. I am okay. Do you have enough money? Enough. Actually, it wasn't enough. But I didn't want to say it. Dad has let you down. He choked up. It's okay. I said, you take care of yourself. After hanging up, I stood on the balcony for a long time. The night wind blew over a bit cold. Sun Yin pushed open the balcony door. Finish with your call. She handed me a cup of hot water. Yeah. Your dad. Yeah. She didn't ask any more questions. Leaning on the railing, she watched the night view with me. I used to stand here a lot, she said suddenly, watching the people walk back and forth below, thinking about where you were, what you were doing. I turned my head to look at her. Her profile looked very soft in the night. Sun Yin. Why are you so good to me? I couldn't get the words out. Too sentimental. But she understood. I've said it before. She took a sip of water. I've had my eye on you. Since high school. Now that I finally have a chance to get close to you, of course I can't let it go. She said it lightly, as if joking, but I knew it wasn't. No joke would make someone hold on for so many years. My family situation right now. Even better. She interrupted me. The old you I couldn't reach. The you right now is just right. She turned to look at me. Her eyes were startlingly bright in the darkness. Suyin, you need me now. This feeling, it's pretty good. My heart suddenly leaped, as if it had been seized by something. I'm not worth it, I said in a low voice. Whether you're worth it or not, I get to decide. She put down the cup. Let's sleep. You still have an interview tomorrow. She turned and went inside. I stayed on the balcony, watching her back. So thin and small. Yet it seemed like she could carry the whole world. My world. The next day's interview, as expected, did not go well. The other party looked at my resume and said directly, Mr. Su, your experience doesn't quite match our position. I thanked him and walked out of the building. The sunlight was blinding. I stood on the street, watching people come and go. Everyone was in a hurry, with their own direction. Only I was like a headless fly. My phone rang. It was a creditor. Mr. Su, this month's payment. I know, I'll pay on time. That would be best. We don't want to take extreme measures. The call ended. I gripped my phone, my palms slick with sweat. Extreme measures. I knew what that meant. Last month, they had already found where I lived and thrown paint on the door. It was Sun Yin who wiped it off bit by bit. She didn't say anything, but I knew she was scared. That night, she came to my room holding a pillow, said she had a nightmare and wanted to sleep on my side. She slept on the bed. I made a pallet on the floor. In the middle of the night, I heard her cry, very softly, like a small animal whimpering. I lay on the floor, not daring to move, pretending I hadn't heard. Now that fear was back, like a tide, creeping up from the soles of my feet. I walked aimlessly. Before I knew it, I had walked to the place I used to live. That villa district. The iron gate was shut tight, the garden overgrown. The once brilliantly lit house was now dark, like a tomb, burying my carefree past. I sat down on a bench across the street, looking at that window, the window of my old room, now hung with unfamiliar curtains. I don't know how long I sat there. The sky slowly darkened. The streetlights came on. I should go back. Sun Yin was still waiting for me for dinner. I stood up, my legs a little numb, limping towards the bus stop. My phone rang again. It was Sun Yin. How was the interview? the sound of sizzling stir-fry in the background. It was okay, I said. You cooked. MHM, I made your favorite sweet and sour pork ribs. She paused. When are you coming home? Soon, I said, waiting for my ride. Okay, be careful on your way. Hanging up, I took a deep breath. The air was filled with the aroma of food. I didn't know which family was making dinner. Ordinary, yet warm, like the place I was about to return to, the place where Sun Yin was. When I got home, Sun Yin had already set out the bowls and chopsticks. Sweet and sour pork ribs, stir-fried broccoli, and tomato egg soup. Very simple, but it looked and smelled delicious. Wash your hands and eat, she said. I put down my bag and went to the washroom. In the mirror, my reflection looked pale. I splashed some cold water on my face, trying to pull myself together. Back at the dining table, Sun Yin had already served the rice. What company did you interview with today? She asked. A trading company. They do overseas markets. How's the pay? The base salary is low, relies on commission. I picked up a piece of rib. Probably not a good fit. She hummed in acknowledgement and didn't ask any more. We ate in silence. The TV was on, playing the local news. There's a big job fair next month, she said suddenly. You could go check it out. Okay. I picked up another rib. I noticed she hadn't touched a single piece herself. Why aren't you eating? On a diet, she said. But I knew that wasn't it. She just wanted to save the good parts for me. Just like so many times before. A lump formed in my throat. I put down my chopsticks. I'm full. You've barely eaten, she frowned. I don't feel well, I said. Maybe a bit of a heat stroke. She reached out to touch my forehead. You don't have a fever. Her palm was warm and dry. It felt comforting on my skin. I'll be fine after some sleep, I said. I stood up to go to my room. She grabbed my arm. Finish your soup. Her tone left no room for refusal. I had no choice but to sit back down and finish the soup. She looked at me, her eyes filled with worry. Su Yin, don't put too much pressure on yourself, she said. Take your time with the job search. You'll find something. Pay off the debt slowly. You'll clear it eventually. I looked at her. Sun Yin, why are you helping me pay off my debt? That money was no small sum. A regular office worker like her couldn't possibly afford it. Yet she transferred money to me on time every month. I told you. It's a loan, she said, lowering her head to clear the dishes. You have to pay it back, with interest. You can't afford this, I said. How much do you even make? If you keep helping me with my debt, how can you live your own life? Her movements froze. She looked up at me. It's my money. I'll spend it how I want. But I'm not worth it. I raised my voice. I'm not worth you doing all this. She put down the dishes. Whether you're worth it or not, I get to decide. That line again. I looked at her stubborn gaze and suddenly felt exhausted. Sun Yin, don't be like this, I said. I can't give you anything in return. I'm not asking for anything in return. Then what are you after? I asked. Me? My face. I regretted the words as soon as they left my mouth. They were too harsh. Her face paled. Her lips pressed into a tight line. Yes, she said. I'm after you. So, Su Yin, you'd better be okay. If you fall apart, my entire investment will go down the drain. She picked up the bowls and chopsticks and walked into the kitchen. The sound of running water started. I sat at the dining table, listening to the sounds from the kitchen. She was washing the dishes. Her movements were rough, the dishes clattering loudly. She was angry. I was angry too. Angry at myself for being useless. Angry at her for being so foolish. After a while, the water stopped. She came out, didn't even glance at me, and went straight to her room. The sound of the door closing was a little heavy. I sat where I was, not moving. The living room lights were off, with only a little light spilling out from the kitchen. How long did I sit in the dark? I don't know, until my eyes adjusted to the darkness, and I could make out the silhouettes of the furniture. Sun Yin's door opened. She came out and stood at the entrance to the living room. Sun Yin, she called my name. Her voice was soft. Yeah, let's not fight, she said. You're all I have. My heart felt as if it had been struck by something heavy. A sour, aching feeling spread from my chest to my throat. Me too, I said. You're all I have, too. She walked over slowly. In the dark, I could see her silhouette, slender and small. She stopped in front of me. Go to sleep, she said. I have to work tomorrow. Okay. I stood up. We stood face to face, very close. Close enough to feel each other's breath. Her breath brushed against my chin. It tickled. I caught a faint scent on her. the same body wash I used. But on her, it seemed exceptionally pleasant. Sunyan, I called her in a low voice. She responded. Her voice was a little hoarse. I raised my hand and gently touched her face. Her skin was soft, a little cool. She shivered, but didn't pull away. Go to sleep, I said again. My fingers lingered on her cheek for a moment, then I drew them back. Good night, I said. I turned and went back to my room. Closing the door, I leaned my back against it. My heart was beating fast, like it was about to burst from my chest. I heard her stand outside for a while, then the sound of footsteps as she returned to her room. The door closed softly. I slid to the floor. My hands were still trembling slightly. In that moment, I had almost kissed her, looking at her sparkling eyes in the darkness. I almost lost control, but I couldn't. In my current state, what right did I have? I couldn't even guarantee a basic living. What future could I give her? I clenched my fists. My nails dug deep into my palms. IT hurt, but it was nothing compared to the ache in my heart. Something between Sun Yin and me had changed. I couldn't quite describe it. It was just closer and also more tense, like a string being slowly pulled taut. No idea when it might snap. I started looking for a job more desperately. Interviews during the day, designated driving at night, and I even took on a tutoring job on the weekends, teaching math to a middle schooler. The kid was very mischievous, couldn't sit still. I patiently explained things over and over. The hourly wage wasn't high, but it was steady. Sun Yin was the same as always, living frugally, but when buying things for me, she would be a little more generous. This shirt is on sale, only $1.99. She handed it to me. Wear something nicer for your interviews. I took it. Thanks. Deduct the money from my living expenses next month. She glared at me. It's a gift. No. I was insistent. We agreed to go Dutch. She sighed. Sun Yin, you can be really stubborn sometimes. I learned it from you, I said. She paused for a moment, then smiled. Fine, have it your way. Life went on like this. Plain, but with a kind of gentle, steady warmth. Until that night, I got a designated driving request to a villa area in the suburbs. The client was a middle-aged man, dead drunk. He was talking nonsense the whole way. Brother, let me tell you, money is a damn bastard. I drove quietly, not responding. Do you have a girlfriend? He suddenly asked. No. I do. He giggled foolishly. Several of them, all after my money. He rambled on. I stared at the dark road ahead. My thoughts were on Sun Yin. What is she doing now? She should be asleep. We arrived at the destination, a very luxurious villa, much like my old home. I parked the car and helped the client get out. He fumbled for his wallet unsteadily. Little brother, thank you for your trouble. He pulled out a wad of cash and stuffed it into my hand. You don't need to give me this much, I said. You deserve it. He waved his hand. If my daughter were still alive, she'd be about your age. He suddenly started to cry. I stood there, a bit at a loss. If she were still here, I wouldn't be drinking like this every day. He squatted on the ground, whimpering like a child. I looked at him and suddenly thought of my dad. Would he also cry like this on some nights? For me, for this family. Sir, the ground is cold. I help him up. I'll walk you in. I rang the doorbell, and a housekeeper came to open the door. I handed the client over to her and turned to leave. The wad of cash was still in my hand. A thick stack, more than I earned in a month. I clutched the money, standing in the night wind. A mix of feelings swirled inside me. It was already 3 in the morning when I got back to the apartment complex. The hallway was still dark. I fumbled for my key, only to find the door was unlocked. It opened with a gentle push. A small lamp was on in the living room. Sun Yin was curled up on the sofa, asleep, covered only with a jacket. On the coffee table was a half-eaten bowl of instant noodles. I closed the door softly. The sound still woke her. She sat up, rubbing her eyes. You're back. Her voice was heavy with sleep. Yeah, I took off my jacket. Why are you sleeping here? Waiting for you. She said it so naturally, like she was saying the weather is nice today. My heart tightened. Don't wait up anymore. I said, it's cold. She didn't answer, just looked at my face. You look pale. I'm fine. I placed a stack of cash on the table. Earn it tonight. She glanced at it, not asking how much. But take a hot shower, she said. I'll warm up a glass of milk for you. I stood in the bathroom, letting the hot water wash over my body. I was tired, but my heart was even more tired. The customers' cries were still ringing in my ears. And the words he said, money is a fucking bastard. Yeah, but without this bastard, it's hard for us to even survive. When I came out of the shower, Sun Yin had already warmed the milk. Here, she handed it to me. The glass was warm. I sipped it slowly. She sat across from me, watching me quietly. Su Yin, she suddenly said my name. If, and I'm just saying if, she chose her words carefully, one day your family's debt is paid off, and you go back to your normal life. Will you leave this place? My hand holding the glass tightened. I guess so, I said. I can't just freeload here forever. She lowered her head. Oh, her voice was very soft. What about you? I asked. Will you keep living here? I don't know, she said. Maybe I'll save up for a down payment and buy a small apartment. Alone. Who else? She looked up at me. Who else would be with me? I didn't speak. The warmth of the milk seeped through the glass, comforting my palm. Sun Yin. I called her name. If I said I don't want to leave, she froze. Her eyes slowly widened. What do you mean? Exactly what it sounds like, I said. If I don't want to leave here, don't want to leave you. Will you kick me out? She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. The living room was silent. Only the clock on the wall ticked away. Su Yin, she finally spoke. Do you know what you're saying? I do, I said. I'm perfectly clear-headed. She stood up and walked over to me. Look at me, she said. I looked up at her. Her eyes were bright under the light, like they were holding water. Is this because you're grateful? She asked. Because I'm helping you now. So you're saying these things? No, I said. Then why? Because I've found. I paused. I'm used to a light being on when I come home every day. I'm used to someone waiting for me to eat. I'm used to your nagging, your careful budgeting, everything about you. Sun Yin, I'm used to a life with you in it. She stood there, motionless, as if frozen by a spell. Do you know what that means? She asked softly. I do, I said. It means I like you, not gratitude, not dependence. Just like a man likes a woman. She was still standing there, but I could see her fingers trembling slightly. Su Yin. She said my name, her voice so soft it was like a sigh. I have nothing right now, I said. I can't promise you anything, but I want to be with you, as a man, not a tenant. She still didn't move. Time ticked by, second by second. My heart slowly sank. Of course. Was I too impulsive? Her helping me now might just be out of pity, or, as she said, some kind of obsession, but not love. I was too full of myself. Forget it. I stood up. Pretend I didn't say anything. I turned to go back to my room, but my wrist was grabbed. Su Yin. She called me. Her voice was trembling. I turned back and saw her reddened eyes. You bastard, she said. You have no idea how long I've waited for you to say that. From high school until now. And you had to pick this moment to say it. When I'm at my most pathetic? I asked. When I'm least qualified to talk about love? Yes, she nodded. The tears finally fell. This way. I can't even bear to refuse you. I was stunned, staring at the tear tracks on her face, shining under the light. Sun Yin. I called her name, my voice hoarse. She let go of my wrist and wrapped her arms around my waist instead, burying her face in my chest. Su Yin, you like me? She asked, her voice muffled. I do, I said. Since when? I don't know. I answered honestly. Maybe it was a certain moment, when I realized I'd panic if I couldn't see you. I'd worry when I heard you were working overtime. My heart would ache seeing you save money. She trembled lightly in my arms. Me too, she said. I've liked you for a long, long time. I raised my hand and gently held her. Her body was soft, carrying the familiar scent of her body wash. Then are we. But she interrupted me, lifting her head to look at me with tear-filled eyes. We can't be together right now. My heart sank. Why? Because you're not content, she said. Su Yin, when you say you like me now, how much of it is genuine and how much is gratitude? Can you even tell the difference yourself? I opened my mouth, wanting to argue, but she pressed her fingers to my lips. Let me finish. Her fingertips were cool. What I want isn't your reliance on me when you're at your lowest. What I want is for you to still choose me after you've gotten back on your feet. Do you understand? I looked at her earnest eyes and suddenly understood. She was protecting me and protecting herself. She was afraid I would have regrets in the future. Afraid this affection couldn't withstand the test of reality. Okay, I said. Wait for me. Wait for me to pay off my debts and find a proper job. Wait until I'm worthy of you. She smiled, tears still clinging to her eyelashes. I'll wait for you, she said. I've already waited so many years. A little longer won't make a difference. I smiled too. I bent my head and gently kissed away the tear tracks on her face. Salty and carrying her warmth. She didn't pull away, only closed her eyes. Su-Yen, she called my name softly. This is the first time you've kissed me. It doesn't count as a kiss, I said, just wiping away tears. It still counts, she said stubbornly. I looked at her with her eyes closed. Her long eyelashes were like little fans. The tip of her nose was slightly red. Her lips, they looked very soft. My heart was beating fast. Sun-Yen, I called her. Can I really kiss you? Her eyes flew open, her face instantly turning red. You. She opened her mouth, but couldn't get the words out. But her eyes held no refusal. I slowly lowered my head, moving closer to her lips. I could feel her breath, warm against my face. Just as her lips were about to touch, she suddenly turned her head. The kiss landed on her cheek. Let's wait a little longer, she whispered. Wait until you confess to me properly. I froze for a moment, then smiled. Okay, I said. I'll wait until I have flowers and a ring. No ring, she shook her head. It's too expensive. Just a bouquet of flowers is fine. Even wildflowers picked from the roadside will do. I looked at her, my heart melting into a puddle. Okay, I said. Just a bouquet of flowers. We held each other and fell asleep. We didn't do anything, just held each other. Her head rested on my chest, her breathing even. I smelled the fragrance of her hair, felt her warmth. For the first time, I felt that this world wasn't so bad after all. At least, I still had her. And this warmth, it was enough to fend off all the cold. On Saturday, we slept until we woke up naturally. Sunlight streamed through the gap in the curtains, casting dappled light and shadows on the floor. Sun-Yen woke up first. She moved a little, and realizing I was still holding her, instantly froze. Morning, I said, my voice hoarse from sleep. More. Ning, she replied in a small voice. Can you let go? No, I said. Let's hold each other a little longer. She didn't struggle anymore, lying quietly in my arms. I could feel her heartbeat. It was fast like a small drum. Su-Yen, she called me. What? Were we like this? We're a pre-couple, I said after thinking for a moment. She let out a laugh. What a weird term. It means we're already in line and we'll be official soon, I explained. She laughed again, her shoulders shaking lightly. Then you'd better be on your best behavior. I guarantee I'll complete the mission, I said. After holding her for a while, I let go. Let's get up, I said. We're going to the market to buy a fish today. Steamed. MHM, you mentioned it before. Her eyes lit up. You still remember? I remember every word you've said, I said. Her face turned red again. Such a smooth talker, she grumbled, getting out of bed. We went to the market together, just like usual, but also not the same. I would naturally take her hand. At first, she would shy away, but later she let me hold it. Her fingers were slender and soft. What do you want to eat? I asked. Anything. There is no anything, I said. Then, fish, I guess. All right. We bought a live fish and watched the stall owner kill and gut it on the spot. We also bought some vegetables. Do you want some shrimp? I asked. They're too expensive, she said. Let's splurge for once today. I insisted. We weighed out a pound of shrimp. Though she said it was a waste, her eyes were sparkling. On the way home, we each carried a shopping bag, hand in hand, like an ordinary couple. Su-Yen, she suddenly called my name. If you regret this in the future, you have to tell me, she said. Don't hide it from me. I won't regret it. I said, what if? There's no what if. I squeezed her hand. Sun-Yen, I'm not being impulsive. I'm serious. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a complex emotion. I know you're serious now, she said. But people change. Especially you, Su-Yen. You've seen a better life, experienced a more exciting world. When everything goes back to normal, you might find that an ordinary girl like me is not good enough for you. I stopped walking and turned to face her. Sun-Yen, I called her name. Look at me. She looked up at me. I've experienced that better life you talked about, but I'm telling you, none of it is as good as this. Not as good as holding your hand and haggling in the wet market right now. Not as good as waiting for a bowl of your hot congee right now. Not as good as watching you try to save money for me right now. In that glamorous life, You are not there. And a life without you, no matter how good, is fake. She stared at me blankly. Her eyes slowly turned red. Su-Yen. So, don't say things like not being good enough anymore. I said, I'm the one who is not good enough for you. It's always been me. She shook her head, tears falling. No, it's not. It is. I reached out and wiped away her tears. So, give me a chance. Let me work hard to be worthy of you. She threw herself into my arms, regardless of the people coming and going around us. Su-Yen, you bastard, she said, crying, saying things like that to make me cry again. I held her and patted her back gently. I'm sorry, I said. I won't say it anymore. I'll show you with my actions. At noon, we had a sumptuous lunch. Steamed fish, blanched shrimp, and a few stir-fried dishes. She ate very happily, constantly putting food on my plate. You should eat more. You've lost weight recently, she said. You too. I peeled a shrimp for her, watching her eat in small bites. My heart was full. This is happiness, isn't it? I thought. Ordinary, simple, but real. After the meal, we washed the dishes together. She did the first wash, I did the second rinse. A perfect team. What are you doing this afternoon? She asked. Looking for a job. I said, it's Saturday today. There's a part-time job, handing out flyers. She frowned. Isn't that too hard? It's not hard. I said, 200 a day. That's enough for us to eat shrimp for several meals. She didn't object anymore. She just said, I'll go with you. You don't have to. I want to go. She insisted. I have nothing to do at home anyway. We went together, handing out flyers in the city center. I wore a mascot costume to attract attention. She helped out on the side. The weather was very hot. It was like a steamer inside the mascot costume. But I didn't feel uncomfortable at all, because every once in a while, she would come over to wipe my sweat and hand me water to drink. Are you okay? She asked. Her voice was a little muffled through the mascot head. I'm great, I said. I just miss you a little. She laughed. Aren't I right here? I still miss you, I said. I want to hug you. Her face turned red. Focus on your work, she said, and turned to leave. I grabbed her hand and gave her a clumsy hug through the mascot costume. Just recharging, I said. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Su-Yen, you weren't like this before. What was I like before? Before, you were very cool and aloof, she said, indifferent to everyone. That was just an act. I said, actually, I really wanted to get close to you, but I was afraid you would hate me. Her eyes widened. Really? Really? I said. That time in high school, I didn't mean to block your way. I wanted to talk to you, but I didn't know what to say. So, I had to find that kind of lame excuse. She smiled, her eyes curving. So the great young master, Sue, gets nervous too. Only with you, I said. She looked at me, her gaze gentle. Su-Yen, I believe you now, that you really like me. Why? Because you've learned to say sweet things, she said. And you're terrible at it. I smiled. I'm learning, I said. I'll get better and better. In the afternoon, we finished handing out all the flyers. We got paid for 100 yuan. Let's go. Let's get ice cream, I said. Isn't that too extravagant? To celebrate, I said. Celebrate what? Celebrate us. Starting to date. She smiled. Okay. We bought 2 cones and sat on a bench outside the mall to eat them. The sun was setting, dyeing the sky orange-red. Su-Yen, she called me. If your dad came back and your family situation improved. She paused. Would you still like me? I would, I said. Why are you so sure? Because liking you has nothing to do with those things, I said. The one I like is you, Su-Yen. Not your money, not your status. Just you as a person. She leaned on my shoulder. I believe you. I received an interview notice. It was for a good company. The position was sales assistant. The interview went smoothly. The other party was very interested in my experience. Have you had contact with these client resources before? The interviewer asked. Yes, I said, although it was in a different capacity. I didn't say it outright, but he understood. Come for the second interview tomorrow, he said. You'll meet our director. I thanked him and walked out of the building. The sun was bright outside. I took out my phone, wanting to call Su-Yen. But I received another call first. It was from the hospital. Is this Mr. Su-Yen? Yes. Your father has been hospitalized. Can you come over? I froze. What? What happened to him? A heart attack. He just had surgery, the person said. His condition is not very stable. I hung up the phone and stood there. The sun was blinding, but I felt cold. My dad was back. When did he come back? Why didn't he tell me? And now he's in the hospital. I stood there stunned for a long time before I remembered to call Sun Yin. Hello. Her voice came through. Sun Yin. I said her name, my voice trembling. What's wrong? She immediately heard that something was off. My dad is in the hospital, I said. Which hospital? I'll come over right away, she asked. You don't have to. Give me the address. Her tone was firm. I told her the address. Wait for me, she said, and hung up. I stood on the street, watching the traffic go by. My mind was a mess. Worry for my father, resentment that he left without a word, confusion at his sudden appearance. All sorts of emotions intertwined. It was almost hard to breathe. Sun Yin arrived quickly. She had taken a taxi. Get in, she said, pulling the car door open. I got in. She took my hand. Don't be afraid, she said. I'm here. A very simple sentence. But it instantly put me at ease. We arrived at the hospital and found a room. My father was lying on a hospital bed, with all kinds of tubes attached to him. His face was pale. He looked much older than I remembered. Dad, I called softly. He slowly opened his eyes. He was stunned for a moment when he saw me. Xiao Yin. His voice was weak. How did you? The hospital called me. I said, when did you come back? Why didn't you tell me? He closed his eyes. I was too ashamed to see you. Don't say such silly things, I said. Sun Yin gently tugged at my arm. Let your uncle rest, she said. Only then did I remember to introduce them. Dad, this is Sun Yin. My friend. My father opened his eyes and looked at Sun Yin. Hello. His voice was very soft. Hello, Uncle, Sun Yin said politely. Please rest well, don't worry. A nurse came in and said she needed to do a checkup. Sun Yin and I left the room. We sat on a bench in the hallway. How is your dad's condition? Sun Yin asked. I don't know, I said. He just had surgery. He should be fine, right? She held my hand. It'll be okay, she said. I looked at her and suddenly felt a wave of guilt. I'm sorry, I said. My interview went well today. I want to tell you the good news. But now, what is there to apologize for, she said. Family is more important. I leaned on her shoulder. Sun Yin, I'm a little scared. Scared of what? I'm scared his condition is bad. I'm scared I'll have to lose even more. She gently patted my back. You won't, she said. I'll be with you. I'll always be with you. We stayed at the hospital for the whole afternoon. My father's condition stabilized. The doctor said the surgery was a success and he needed a rest. As for the fees, I've already paid them, Sun Yin said. I froze. Where did you get the money? My savings, she said. No, this money. Sun Yin, she cut me off. Now is not the time to worry about this. I looked into her eyes, clear and determined. Thank you, I said. I'll pay you back. I know, she said. With interest, I smiled. Okay. After my father woke up, he seemed a bit better. He could say a few simple words. Xiao Yin, he called to me. Dad, I leaned in closer. That girl, he said. Is she your girlfriend? I hesitated for a moment. Not yet, I said. But I want her to be. My father smiled. It was a weak smile, but it was genuine. She's very nice, he said. Better than those who used to surround you. I knew he was referring to my so-called friends from before. People like Zhao Lin. Yeah, I said. She's wonderful. Treat her well. My father said, our family owes you too much. Don't say that, I said. You're my dad. He closed his eyes, tears welling up at the corners. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry. I didn't speak, just held his hand tighter. The father who was once so strong was now as fragile as a child. Time really had changed a lot. In the evening, Sun Yin went back first. She said she had to work tomorrow. I stayed at the hospital to keep watch. After my father fell asleep, I sat in the hallway and sent Sun Yin a message. Are you asleep? Not yet, she replied instantly. What are you doing? Thinking of you, she said. I smiled. Me too. How is your uncle? He's stable, I said. He can be moved to a regular ward tomorrow. That's good. Sun Yin. Yes. Thank you. You've already said that. I want to say it again. Then go ahead. Thank you for appearing in my life, I sent. It took her a while to reply. Sun Yin, when did you get so cheesy? I learned it from you, I said. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. We bickered for a little while. Like two children. You should get some sleep, she said finally. You have to take care of your uncle tomorrow. Okay, good night. I put down my phone and looked at the night sky outside the window. The stars were bright, like her eyes. Even though things were a mess, with her here, I felt like I could face anything. The next day, my father was transferred to a regular ward. He was in much better spirits. He could carry on a normal conversation. Xiaoyan, this whole time. How have you been? He asked. I've been okay, I said. I found a job. I'm in the middle of interviews. The debt. How much have you paid off? I've paid off a portion. I didn't tell him Sun Yin had helped me. I brought some money with me this time, my father said. It's not much, but it should help. I looked at him. Dad, your illness needs money for treatment. My illness isn't important, he said. You are. You're still young. You can't be dragged down by me. What nonsense are you talking? I said. You're my dad. What do you mean, dragged down? He sighed. I was so foolish before. I always thought money could solve everything. Only now do I realize some things can't be bought with money. Health, family, sincerity. Dad, it's all in the past, I said. The important thing now is for you to rest and get better. I'll work hard and pay off the debt. We'll start over. He looked at me, his eyes filled with relief. Xiaoyan, you've grown up. Yes, I have. I grew up. After losing everything. After meeting Sun Yin. A week after my father was hospitalized, he was discharged. He temporarily stayed at Sun Yin's place. I had originally wanted to rent an apartment, but my father insisted against it. It's too much of a waste of money, he said. I'll only be staying for a few days before I leave. Leave? To where? I asked. Back abroad to find your mother, he said. She's there all by herself. I'm worried. Your health. It's fine, he said. The doctor said, I just need to rest. Sun Yin was very welcoming to my father. She gave up her room for him and slept on the sofa herself. How can we do this? My father disagreed. I'll just sleep on the sofa. In the end, I was the one who slept on the sofa. Sun Yin and my father each had a room. Those few days, we were like a real family. We ate together, we chatted together. My father's complexion improved day by day. He and Sun Yin got along very well. I often saw them sitting on the balcony, talking. Once, I overheard them talking about me. Xiaoyan was so mischievous when he was little. My father said. One time he broke the neighbor's window and was too scared to come home, so he stayed in the park until midnight. And then, Sun Yin asked. Later I found him. He thought I was going to hit him, but I didn't. Why? Because he was crying so pitifully. My father laughed. Besides, the neighbor's window already had a crack in it. They were trying to blame it on us. I stood at the door, listening to their conversation. My heart felt warm. This kind of ordinary happiness was something I once scorned. Now it was incredibly precious. That evening, my father called me out to the balcony. Xiaoyan, I'm leaving tomorrow, he said. So soon. Yes, the ticket is booked, he said. Your mother has been rushing me. I was silent for a moment. Dad, I'm sorry. What are you sorry for? Before, I was ignorant and made you worry. He patted my shoulder. The one who should be apologizing is me. I didn't set a good example for you. Seeing you like this now, I'm very gratified. You've really grown up. I looked at my father's graying hair. I suddenly realized that he had gotten old, and it was time for me to carry this family. Dad, don't worry, I said. I'll be fine. I will pay off the debts. I will find a job. And Sun Yin. I paused. I will treat her well. My father smiled. I can tell. She's a good girl. Cherish her. I know. The next day, we took my father to the airport. At the security checkpoint, he hugged me. Xiaoyan, take care of yourself. You too, I said. He looked at Sun Yin. Yin, I'm leaving Xiaoyan in your hands. Sun Yin nodded solemnly. Don't worry, uncle. My father turned and walked into the security check. His back was a little stooped, but his steps were firm. I stood there until his figure disappeared. Let's go, Sun Yin said softly. I held her hand. Okay. On the way home, we were both very quiet. Sun Yin suddenly called me. Yes. Your dad gave me something, she said. What? She took out an envelope from her bag. It was thick. He said it was for you and asked me to give it to you. I took it and opened it. Inside was a bank card and a letter. Xiaoyan, there's 500,000 in this card. It's the last of your mother's and my savings. Use it to pay off the debts. With what's left, buy something for yourself and Sun Yin. Dad is sorry, but Dad is proud of you. Take care. The letter was short. The handwriting was a little shaky. I clutched the letter, my fingers tightening. 500,000. To them, it really was their last savings. Yet they gave it all to me. Sun Yen looked at me with concern. I took a deep breath and put the card back in the envelope. Pay off the debts first, I said. The rest, we'll save it. For your dad's medical treatment? Yes, I said. He needs the money. Sun Yen looked at me, her eyes gentle. You've changed, she said. How have I changed? You've become better. I smiled. Because of you, I said. It's you who makes me want to be better. Back home, we started planning how to use the money. First, we listed all the debts, calculated them one by one. After paying all these off, there will still be about 100,000 left, Sun Yen said. Save it. Yes, I said. Send it to your dad? No, he would refuse it, I said. Let's save it for now, just in case. All right, Sun Yen nodded. We went to the bank together to handle the repayments. Watching the debts get cleared one by one, my heart felt much lighter. Finally, I let out a long sigh of relief. Feeling relieved? Sun Yen asked. Yeah, I said. Like a 1,000-pound weight has been lifted. She smiled. Congratulations. Same to you. I said. You don't have to carry my debt with me anymore. I never felt it was a burden. She said. I looked into her eyes. Clear, sincere. Sun Yen. Let's officially be together. She was stunned. Now. Yes, now. I said, although I haven't completely found my footing yet. But at least the debt is paid off. I have the ability to give you a future now. She looked at me, her eyes slowly welling up. Are you sure? I'm sure. I said, never been more sure. She threw herself into my arms. Okay, she said, let's be together. I held her tightly, feeling her warmth, her heartbeat. I had waited too long for this moment. From destitution to rebirth. From loneliness to having her by my side. Sun Yen. I called her name. I love you. Her body stiffened for a moment. Then she hugged me even tighter. I love you too. We embraced at the entrance of the bank, ignoring the stares of the people around us. At this moment, only the two of us existed in the world. And our love. After we officially got together, we still lived in that small house. I was still looking for a job, doing part-time work. She still lived a frugal, carefully planned life. Now I could kiss her openly, hold her from behind while she was cooking, steal a kiss on her cheek while she was watching TV, gently kiss her forehead while she was sleeping. She always blushed, but never refused. Sun Yen, you're getting more and more forward, she said. Am I? I played dumb. Yes. She glared at me. Where did that aloof young Master Su go? He died, I said. He died the day you found me. She froze for a moment, then smiled. Then who is this now? This is your Sun Yen, I said. Only yours. She leaned into my arms. That's more like it. Sun Yen. It's so good to have met you. Me too, I said. Meeting you is the luckiest thing that has ever happened to me in this life. We held each other in the darkness, feeling each other's warmth and heartbeat. Eternal and beautiful. End of story.